All right, guys, welcome to week two, where we really start to get into some useful content. Last week was all just sort of preamble. Wanted to make sure you were comfortable with the process of the course and how we were going to carry it out throughout the semester. It also gave me a chance to just hear from you, get a little information about each of you, which is important to me because this course is all about you and your goal and your plan. So let me take the opportunity now, before we get into really into the week two content, which is all about getting to know you or getting to know yourself. It really should be called, it's week two, getting to know you. I really should call it getting to know yourself, right? You want to think about this course, and I think I mentioned this a little bit in some of the writing that we've seen. But I want you to think of this course like drawing a map, right? We want to think about our goals. We want to think about where we want to go. We want to think about how college can get us there. So you're all college students now. You're all officially in this, select group of individuals who are going to be college educated. What's important now when you're in the early stages of your college education is to figure out where exactly you want your college career to take you in your professional life. So all that has to do with kind of you picking the right major for you and making sure that the major that you're picking matches up to your career goals. And so to do that, we've got to first think about those career goals and sort of then work backwards from there. But before we can even think about the career goals, we have to think about who we are and what kind of careers are going to make us happy and satisfy our other sort of life goals, right? We all have goals in life outside of the career. And ideally, I think the career is just a way for you to accomplish your other life goals, whether it's making money or having a family or doing living where you want to live or the way you want to live. We have to think about a career that's going to make us happy. That's the main reason we go to college, right? It's so that we can have the career we want and a career that allows us the flexibility and the resources that's going to allow us to do the things that we want to do in life, both in our jobs and in our own personal lives. So that's what we're after right now. We want to establish two things on our map, right? The beginning point and the end point, and then we'll figure out everything else as we go, right? College is that road. College is that road that gets you from where you are now to where you want to go if you use it right. We want to make sure we think about that intentionally right from the beginning. So I've got a couple slides to show you and things to go over, but I want to keep this video pretty short and give you plenty of time this week to work on our assignments. And we'll go over all that together in this video. So the name of our course is College Transfer Success, ACA 122. And we didn't get to go over this a whole lot last week. But hopefully we made this pretty clear by going over the syllabus and things like that. But let's make this rude. Let's just go over it again. ACA 122 is College Transfer Success, and ACA is just short for academics, right? So this is a class about college, about school, about learning, and in particular, our class is about the college transfer process. And the reason it's so important that we all take this college transfer course is that for most of us, we're planning to go on and get a 4-year degree, right? You are all college students now, and the classes that you are taking through Beaufort can be applied towards a 4-year degree, or what we call a bachelor's degree, right? But Beaufort County Community College does not actually grant 4-year degrees or bachelor's degrees, right? That's what we need a senior institution for. So we are going to, all of us, if we want to pursue a bachelor's degree and we want to use the credits that we're taking, use the classes that we're taking at Beaufort, and apply those towards a bachelor's degree, we're going to have to transfer those credits. We're going to have to transfer our classes from Beaufort to a senior institution. But that's just important. I can't iterate this enough. Like, the classes that you're taking now will count towards your college degree, towards your 4-year bachelor's degree. So that's why we got to think about our entire college future first, right? We got to think about that now because we're there. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty details of the transfer process later in the semester. That's really kind of what the second half of the semester is all about. But that's where we're headed. We're going to learn about all these details and all the sort of bureaucracy and paperwork and red tape that you got to clear to make sure that you are taking the right classes and that they're going to transfer to the school that you want to go to and the way you want them to transfer. So it's important that we understand how college works and how our degrees are put together, right? Degrees are made up of classes, basically, right? You take the right number of classes from the right categories, from the right subjects, in the right order, and you get the right grades, and poof, you have a college degree. So we want to, and again, we'll talk about all that later in the semester once we have our goals kind of set. But I want to go over this now just so we have a quick overview. Right, we call things a bachelor's degree a 4-year degree because this is the traditional model, right? You go in as a freshman and then you graduate as a senior. So you got freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, just like high school, right? But now we throw that timeline sort of on its head now because all of us are having the opportunity to take some classes early, take college classes while we're still finishing our high school degree. So this first, second, third, fourth year is a little bit of an outdated model, right? No one kind of goes through college this way anymore, where it's all high school classes and then it's all college classes, and you're going at it, 1 year at a time. But it's still useful to think about this model of the 4 years because you can think of it in terms of like 4 years worth of classes, right? A bachelor's degree is a 4-year degree if you are taking, 15 or 16 college credits each semester for 8 semesters with no credits coming in, right? It would take you 4 years to accomplish. That's the bachelor's degree. That's the 4-year degree. Now, we also have an associate's degrees, and that's what we grant at the community college. And although we also grant all sorts of different program degrees and certificates, and there's all sorts of programs at the community college, but by far our biggest program is our arts and sciences program, which is the transfer program, right? Which is where people who are taking classes and hoping to use those classes and apply them towards a bachelor's degree. So that's what program you guys are all in right now. You are in a transfer pathway. That's how it breaks down. The associate's degree, if you're taking it the right way, and the associate's degree in arts and sciences, which is where you're at, is designed to mirror the first 2 years of a bachelor's degree. And we're gonna beat this to death in a few weeks, but I just wanted to give you the quick overview of what we're talking about in terms of bachelor's degrees and then advanced degrees, right? Associate's degree is a 2-year degree. If it's a transfer associate's degree, it mirrors the first half of a bachelor's degree. So that means you only have 2 years remaining if you finish your associate's degree at the community college level. Once you finish your bachelor's degree, that's where things get all wild and crazy, right? There's so many different types of advanced degrees that you can get if your career requires you. You can get a master's degree, a doctorate, law school, med school, divinity school. There's literally hundreds of different types of advanced degrees that may or may not be relevant to you and worth pursuing to you in your career. But how do you know, right? Not everybody needs a bachelor's degree. Certainly not everybody needs an advanced degree or a graduate degree. So how do you know what's right for you? And the short answer to that is comparing your college education to the career that you want, right? And that's what I want from this course. That's what I want this course to be for you all. I want this course to be empowering so that you have the ability to take control of your own college education, to decide where you want your college education to take you, and then we give you the tools and the assistance that you need to help make the right decisions that are going to make college be what you want it to be. But it's your education, and we want you to be in charge of it. You're in the driver's seat, but we want to give you all the information and tools and knowledge that you need to make the most of your college education. And that starts by thinking about the end goal, right? And you'll see in my little instructor's note that I wrote, we talk about beginning with the end in mind, right? So as you're starting your college journey, or as you're in the early phases of your college journey, it's really important, really necessary, vital that you think about where you want your college degree to take you. So that's what we're up to this week. And to accomplish that goal, we're going to use a program called Focus to Career. And this is it's actually a pay website that you need to pay for an account, but Beaufort already paid for that account for you. So you use the information below. You use the information that we have in Blackboard that I have in the week 2 folder. Use that link and it'll connect you to the account that Beaufort's already paid for you. Then you just got to register with your Beaufort credentials. So follow the directions that I have listed down below on getting registered for Focus to Career. Please reach out to me if you run into any snags there. Make sure that you create a password for that website that works, that you're going to be able to remember. It's going to have to be a different password than the one that you use for your Beaufort account. It's just got there's higher security requirements for the Focus to Career than there are for Beaufort. So just know that, just work through that process. The steps that hopefully are laid out for you pretty plainly. But as always, if you run into any snags, or if you're not sure, if it's not working right, if anything messes up on you, please don't hesitate and don't wait to reach out to me. Right, go ahead and let me know so we can address the issue right away. And again, the best way to get in touch with me is to just send me an email. And especially as long as you're sending me the email during the day or early in the evening, I'll be able to get back to you within just a little bit. If you send it, too late at night, then it'll be the next day before I can get back to you. So just keep that in mind. But that's what we want to do this week. Now, one of the assessments that you're going to do within this, so let me back up and say, what Focus to Career is going to give you is the opportunity to take these personality assessments and work interest assessments and strengths assessments, skills assessment, all sorts of different things that are going to kind of try to let you know what you're good at, what interests you, and what kind of careers you are going to be best suited for in terms of your personality and your interests and your strengths and your values. It's not perfect, right? Like, I don't want you to take this all too literally. I want you to engage with this process where you're taking these personality assessments. I want you to engage with this process critically, which means I don't want you to just unquestioningly accept the results of these assessments without taking a few minutes to say, well, is this really what I think about me? Is this accurate? Question the results, engage with the process critically. I think if you do an earnest job, if you're honest with yourself and if you're honest with the assessments and you go through the process thoughtfully, it's generally I generally get good feedback from my students about it being an accurate representation of who they think they are. And often we find students that actually learn something about themselves that they didn't really think about before. But not for everybody. Look, if you hate the process, that's okay. I still think it's important that we go through this process because it makes you think about yourself and what motivates you very intentionally. And that's an important process to go through when we think about this goal discernment process, where we go through a process of setting a goal, right? We don't want to just kind of set our career goal all willy-nilly based on whatever we're kind of feeling right at the moment. We want to go through a process that makes us think about this stuff very intentionally and go through it methodically, right? And so that by the time we get to a goal, a career goal, it's one that we've considered and researched, and so we're getting into it with an understanding of what it is that we're getting ourselves into. All right, so last thing, and the video is running a little bit longer than I want to. I want to address real quick this idea of Holland codes. Holland codes are what will come in the results of your work interest assessment that we'll do in Focus to Career. And it's going to give you a 3-letter code. It's going to be an RIASEC. Out of those 6 letters or those 6 characteristics, Your work interest assessment is going to try to figure out which of those 3 characteristics are most prominent in your personality, right? And there's different careers that are associated with each of these Holland codes, or each combination of these Holland codes. Realistic folks are the ones that like to really work with their hands and get their body into what they're doing. So athletes generally rate high in the realistic. Welders and engineers often rate high in realistic. People that like to work with their hands. Investigative are the thinkers, right? These are people who like to usually work more in a desk setting where they're using their mind more than their hands with the work that they're doing. Artistic, right? Are your creative types. I don't think we need to delve into that too much. But remember that creative doesn't just mean creative in terms of like making art, but creative means you like building something that wasn't there before, creating something. So whether that's a drawing or a painting or a sculpture, or if it's a new computer design or engineering design or car design, creativity is really important to that process. So artistic isn't just limited to the realm of what we consider like the fine arts, but it has all sorts of applications in other places. Social, this is one that I think people get confused on a lot, because when you see social, you just think of people that are personable, that like to hang out with people and be around people. That's not exactly what we're talking about with this Holland Code. Social, the key word is helper, right? These are folks who are really motivated by a desire to help others. That's how they get their satisfaction in their own lives. That's how they get fulfillment in their own lives, is seeing the work that they do help others. Then we've got our enterprising, which are your influencers. These are folks who are generally going to be really good in the business world. Lawyers tend to rate really high in enterprising. They're good at persuading and influencing people and bringing people on board with what they're doing. Politicians usually rate high in enterprising. And then conventional are just really important folks in society, because these are the people who keep us organized, usually work well with numbers and data, and people who work as accountants and who do well working with spreadsheets and areas like human resources, these kinds of things. They're generally going to rate really high in conventional. So the Holland codes that come from the work interest assessment, they are really focused on your career. So that's why we want to, even though we're going to do several other assessments, I wanted to take just a minute to explain Holland codes to you and expose you to this idea, because when you get to the results of your work interest assessment, it's going to give you a 3-letter code. 3 of these characteristics they're going to decide are a little bit more prominent in you than the others, right? And this is all nuanced, right? We can see a little bit of ourselves in each of these characteristics, probably, right? But this is going to kind of help us figure out which ones of these are most prominent in us and are should be most relevant to our career goals. But again, we're not taking this as gospel truth. We're going to take the time to engage in this process critically, and we are going to question the results. And we may decide that they are accurate, and we may decide that they're not accurate. But first, we are going to critically examine the results and not just kind of accept them blindly. All right. And lastly, in this video, I want us to go over real quick just the content that is in Blackboard. So if we look down here, again, the Focus 2 Career, Getting Started. This is, again, we want to use these links, follow these directions to create your account. Note this, the C goals, you'll need the access code, the BCCC access code, because again, this is a site that is not free, but it is free to you because Beaufort's already paid for your account. So we need to make sure that you're using our unique access code and that you're registering with your BCCC credentials. Please note and make sure that you've got the correct section in there. I'm going to use this same video for my other online section, which is 204. So just make sure you're following the directions here. Some of you are in section 203, some of you are in section 204. Don't get confused on that because I'm going to use this same recording twice. Sorry. Your advisors are all going to be different. Again, you can find your advisor by checking the advising site in Blackboard. If you go under My Courses, right in the same column where you see ACA 122 in your other classes, down at the bottom you should see something that says advising site, and then it'll have your advisor's name right there. I encourage you to check that site out, and but we'll do that as part of our coursework later this semester as well. And these are the 7 assessments. This is what your Focus 2 career will look like. Once you get in there, so you click start, you're going to do 7 total assessments. At least there's only one other one that you can do, so you can do all 8 if you want. And then once you complete the assessments, you can look at different combinations of how there's of different careers that Focus 2 career is going to suggest for you based on the results of your assessments. And I also want to bring your attention to this option at the bottom. So if you keep scrolling, so this is the main page. When you get logged in, it's going to give you this message. It'll have your name, not mine. And you can work on all these assessments. None of them take longer than a couple or 3 minutes. So it's not going to take you all day to get through them. But you also have down here where it says explore the possibilities. And I encourage you to take some time to look at this, but in particular this option where it says you can explore any occupation. The results of your assessments are going to give you a list of careers, and the careers may be similar to what you want to do, but not exactly, or they might be way off base. Either way, what's most important in this process is that you are finding careers that get you excited, that get you motivated, to make you look forward to your future, and that you're willing to work for, right? College is hard. College is difficult. And it's important to know what that goal is to help keep you motivated as you go through the rough semesters and rough midterms and finals that you're going to have to go through. I think it's really helpful to remember there's a reason that you're doing this, and the reason is it's going to help you get this career. So anyway, take some time. There's literally thousands of different careers, and they don't even list everyone that exists, obviously, right? But let's just take a minute and say, chemist, I don't know. Let's look at chemist. And when you click on it, it's going to give you all sorts of information about the job. So read that. Look through those before in your assignment. You're going to select your top 3 career choices that pop up or that you like, whether it was in your list or not. If, again, you have the option to explore any occupation. So if you're not seeing the one that you like, or the ones that, or any that you like, feel free to go outside the list that Focus 2 Career provides you. But when you find the ones you like, check out the information about them. It tells you the characteristics that you need. It tells you the education requirements that you need. We talked about the different levels of degrees. Looks like to be a chemist, you're going to at least need a bachelor's degree and probably a master's degree. And that's just an important thing to know. Are you willing to go to school for that long to get to this career? Anyway, you look at these, you look at the information. We'll do more exploration of the different information that we can find for each of our career goals. But for now, I just want you to do a quick overview and make sure that it looks right to you at a glance before you list it as one of your top 3 choices. It's the assignment that we have this week is going to ask you to list your top 3 career choices based on the results of your interest or of your assessments, and then to reflect on this process a little bit. But that's what we're up to. Once we have our top 3 career choices next week, we're going to do a little deep dive into each of those careers. We're going to research them. And before we set our ultimate career goal, we want to make sure that we've explored a few different options and that we're settling on one that really does get us excited, that the more we look into it, the more excited that we get. So that's where we're at. This video has gone on a little bit longer than I wanted it to, so I'm going to go ahead and end it now. But as always, reach out to me via email anytime if you're running into any snags here, and I would be glad to hear from you. All right, thank you, everybody.